So this is an interesting one. I've seen so many people talk about the controversies surrounding Kid Buu, but not that many people actually talking about his music. So even though he doesn't have a whole lot of music out there, we're making an exception just like the Lil Pump video, and doing one on him kind of early because I was really curious to see what his music sounds like, and I do have something that I want to say about it. So today in Worst Rappers in the Game, we will be looking at the man formerly known as Humongous the God.
Humongous what?
AKA 30-year-old man that pretends he's 20.
Hey losers, what's up? Thank you for subscribing.
So, is Kid Buu one of the worst rappers in the game? Well, this is CDTV, and that's the question we're going to be answering. Kid Buu has claimed in interviews to be a clone, and you guys might think I'm crazy when I say this, but I actually believe him. And here is the evidence right here. Yeah, that's the evidence. His music is the evidence because, oh my god, this guy does not have his own original sound. You're gonna notice a theme with each of the segments in this episode, and that is that it's almost kind of hard to grade Kid Buu's music because he literally copies other rappers. Like, I don't mean indirectly, I mean straight up biting their music with no shame. And because of this, it's honestly impossible to actually decipher what his vocal style is. As far as I'm concerned, Kid Buu doesn't exist vocally. A perfect example of this is the song Heartbreak, where he sounds like Trippie Redd on the hook, and sounds like a carbon copy of Lil Uzi on the verses.
I say I'm stacking too much, but she think I'm doing her dirty. Nah, that's just the lean of my cup.
It's the same for the song No Romance too. There are songs like Greener Days though, where it's either him actually sounding a bit different, or I just haven't heard the rapper or song that he's biting from yet. But the problem with that song is his voice just sounds dreadful on it anyway. It sounds a little bit like if you took an early 2000 emo band singer and just waterboarded his vocals in autotune. As for the tracks where he's not singing and he's just rapping, his voice can be okay, but it's very nondescript, like on the song Double Up. I honestly think the only song where I like his voice is the verse on Me, and that's pretty much it. Overall, I'm gonna have to give Kid Clone a 1 out of 10 here. I just cannot give him a higher score when he's intentionally ripping off other rappers' styles, because it means that Kid Buu doesn't actually have a voice. I legit would not recognize him if he featured on someone else's track, and I genuinely can't say that for any other rapper in this series.
Don't strap me, got choppers in my Mozzie. With my shooters since day one, they pull it on me.
As you can imagine, this one isn't really that different from the last segment. Now usually when you're completely ripping off another rapper's voice, you at least try and switch your flow up so it doesn't sound like you're completely imitating them, right? Well, not Kid Duplicate. And the absolute worst showcase of this is the song Dead Roses. I don't know how you did this, Kid Buu. How did you manage to rip off Nav? How do you rip off Nav Raj? How do you rip off someone that isn't even that original in the first place himself? He even straight up just reuses some of Nav's lyrics.
All this ice, I need a freezer. Whip it up, back beater. Ain't no heart up on my shoulder. Ooh, dead that hoe like roses. Ooh,
Off-white on my Prestos, all these girls I'm running through.
I can't text her back these Franklin's what I'm thumbing through. So you know I had to cut her loose. All these blue honey's what I'm thumbing through.
That is theft on a whole different embarrassing level. And a lot of people have said that, oh well, Kid Buu's track was uploaded 2 years ago on Soundcloud, but you can't really put too much faith in that because old tracks can be edited on SoundCloud. You can replace the audio files. I'm pretty sure he did bite off of Nav here. Another shameful example of this is Death to SoundCloud, where he steals Smokepurpp's flow for the hook and X's flow and adlibs for the verses.
She thought my coupe was a ghost. Told that bitch no dish, so rape starts on my roof.
Shot to the head, make up for nigga think. Hit you with Uzi. Call my job on vacation.
This man is taking so many bites, I'm surprised he's still skinny. But I do have something at least kinda positive to say here. Whilst they're not super original or anything, he does have nice flows on the songs Poppa, On Me, and Double Up.
My little baby, she got her the bubble, but I might pull up in the Tonka truck. We cannot talk on the cellular. I smoke the gas and serve you the regular. I sip the walk, you sipping on Benadryl.
I mean, he's obviously kind of aiming for a Ski Mask flow on that particular song, who featured on the track with him, but it still sounds nice. I'll give him that. It does sound good and it flows together nicely. I'm gonna give him a 3 out of 10 here. His flows are definitely compatible with the beats that he uses, and he doesn't really have any glaringly bad ones, but again, the biting is just way too strong. You can't really give someone a high score for listening to someone else's rapping and structuring their bars the exact same way.
You know I smash your bitch, but she know I won't say no names. They treat me like I'm Pablo, but no, I don't suck cocaine.
We don't need to spend too much time on this one, like, at all. The best way I can show this is by bringing up a point about most of the rappers in this series so far. Most of them, even the ones with obnoxiously bad lyrics, have something that is unique to them. It's just, you hear it in their lyrics and you know that it's them. With Juice WRLD, you'll get sad lyrics about drug abuse and heartbreak. With Nav, you'll get the same, with more glorification of the drugs and a sprinkle of Brown Boy thrown in there. Even Lil Pump has lyrical tendencies, talking about having sex with your family members and ridiculous lyrics that are funny because they don't make sense. It fits the ignorant but confident character that he's trying to portray. Just little things like that you then associate with that artist. Kid Buu doesn't have any of this. Nothing that I hear and think of him. Also, if you care about rhymes at all, he's not even good at that, commonly rhyming with just one syllable, or just throwing out any attempt at writing and just rhyming the exact same words with each other. No creativity, no originality, no interesting mannerisms or any cool concepts. Big fat old 0 out of 10 for you, my man. And I don't give those out lightly. Kid Counterfeit is literally devoid of anything to make him stand out. If you could point out a bar of his that has actually stuck with you in the comments, I'll give you a big old heart on that comment, because I cannot think of one.
I let her suck the dick cause she don't want no clout. No clout. And when I'm done, you know I kick that hoe up out the house.
Big shock here, unsurprisingly, this is the best aspect of Kid Buu's music. He frequently works with a producer called Udem Beats, and he's pretty good. Nothing innovative, of course, but he knows how to make some hard-hitting production. For example, the beat for Death to SoundCloud, that is just incredibly hard. The bass is very heavy without being distorted, it sounds very Ronnie J-like, and the siren sound adds even more urgency to the sound of the beat. But without a doubt, the most interesting beat he has used is the one for Poppa. It's got this chilled out vocal sample in the background, but most of the other elements of the beat have a kind of creepy sound to them, and it makes for an interesting contrast.
Talk about them in my wrist, fool. You are arrested with it, too. Fuck on that bitch like a shit, fool. Give her bomb dick like a missile.
And another great beat is the one for his song Drought Season. That's just another one that goes very hard. Honestly, there's not really any beats he's used that I think are awful, but there definitely are a few that I think are kinda average. Tracks like Say No Names and Heartbreak don't really have production that is that intriguing, and that's not that great when the main reason to listen to Kid Buu is the beats. Considering that most of the beats on their own sound pretty good, and they do fit the sound that Kid Buu is going for on most of his tracks, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 for this one. Just like with everything else, his production choice doesn't have any unique elements to it at all, and it only changes depending on who he's copying, but fundamentally, it does sound nice.
Got me a form for real, all this designer for real. Fashion killer, bitch, I'm dressing to kill. Who you fooling, boy, them diamonds ain't real.
You already know he's not gonna get a high score here. Now I can kinda understand why not many people have talked about Kid Buu's music in a critical way, because it's just very obviously a ripoff. And it's pretty clear that he knows this. He knows what he's doing. You see, he even directly copied his name from Kid Buu, a character from Dragon Ball, which I'm pretty sure is a copyright infringement issue, but whatever. Now, in Dragon Ball, Kid Buu is a character that, from what I understand, changes his powers depending on who he absorbs. In that way, there's kind of a concept around Kid Buu the rapper, where he does the exact same thing, but just absorbs other rappers' cadences, lyrics, and flows. That's almost a cool idea, but does it really excuse the fact that he chose that name as an excuse to not be original in any way, shape, or form? I don't think so. All you need to know is that his best songs are Double Up, Poppa, On Me, and Drought Season, and it's pretty much a best of a bad bunch situation. Boom boom pow, let's hit him with the 0.5 out of 10. This is another one of those rare rappers in this series where I legitimately do not feel the need to come back to his music ever again. Unless he drops something new to check out if he's improved, but otherwise, that's no exaggeration. I don't feel the need to listen to any of this again.
Time pop is high, the mall separate.
So overall, Kid Buu gets a score of 12 out of 50 here, placing him pretty close to the bottom of our list, as you can imagine. More specifically, this puts him at number 23 out of 25, one spot below Lil Pump, who definitely needs to be re-rated soon, he's improved a lot since the episode on him, and one spot above Lil Xan. And even then, I might have to give Xan an extra point here or there to move him up, because at least he's recognizable. Kid Copy Paste is genuinely the most disposable rapper I've ever heard. When you've listened to a full tape from an artist and you still genuinely don't know what that rapper actually sounds like, that's a problem. Well, that is going to be it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate if you left a like if you enjoyed this, and let me know what you think of Kid Buu down in the comments below. And if you guys want to talk to me more personally about this, you can follow me on my social medias. That's Twitter, CDTVProductions, and Instagram, CDTVProductions. After this video goes live, I'll be answering as many DMs on there as I can. So if this has just went up, hit me up on there. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one. And this is CDTV Productions, signing out.